Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another weekend of racing here with us at Delta Racing League. After a long sabbatical, I am happy to say that I have returned to the commentator's booth. For those of you who don't know, my name is Matt McAdams. I used to be the resident streamer here at Delta for a long time and needed to take a bit of a break, but we're back. I'm pumped to be here. I'm super happy that the admins over at Delta invited me to come back so we can bring the action back on these Sunday evenings together. So before we get started, we're just about to start the qualifying session. I did miss last weekend's race. I was a little bit predisposed. I was down in Vegas to see the Dead & Company Sphere show at the Sphere, which was an absolutely mind-boggling experience. If anybody wants to hear about it, hit me up in the Discord. I've got nothing but stories to tell. But let's catch you up on the results of last weekend's race. So back at the Red Bull Ring, looks like Melon Pitch is going to be bringing home the win last weekend, followed by Nico Roscosh in second place, Andre Lloyd in third, Felix Payant in fourth, Dominic Chamont in fifth, Pierre, oh man, we're starting to get into these last names I'm going to struggle to pronounce, Pierre Couvret, we're going with that. In sixth place, Hunter Herrera in P7, Jason Lapointe in P8, Jim Grimes in P9, and Evan Toth in P10. And in the GT4 field here, looks like Ross Sparrow bringing home the gold in the Camaros, Noah McComber in second place, Joshua Worley in P3, Joshua Buckwalter in P4, Albert Ginoia in P5, Ben Burchett in P6, Dustin Fletcher in P7, Mac Morgan for P8, Ryan Garrity for P9, and Jeff Spangler for P10. And I forgot to mention, for those of you who weren't paying attention or hoping for me to explain it like a streamer should have at the start of the stream, this is a mixed class series. We are racing the two American cars that are in Assetto Corsa Competizione. Now we've got a GT3 Mustang as well as a GT4 Camaro, and we are going to be putting those two head to head to see which one is going to, well, we know the GT3 is faster, but they're both super exciting to watch. But let's go ahead and get trackside here, as it looks like Melon Pitch about halfway through his outlap, going to be starting his flyer here in just a moment. So let's go ahead and take a look over there as soon as I can get things to behave. There we go. Still shaking off the cobwebs here, but Melon Pitch looks like he is closely followed behind by, oh, I just barely can't see the car number. But flying around Misano. Misano, for those of you who don't know, can be a very tricky track. It is a deceiving series of just weird coasting corners with brake zones that can vary 50 meters in either direction from lap to lap, or depending on who's around you. It can be a very tricky track to negotiate. Very important to make sure you're carrying a lot of speeds through these corners, because there's really just tons of overtaking opportunities exiting some of these little complexes, especially this one here, turn 6, if I remember correctly. Very important for Melon Pitch to get right, losing all of the track there, gets a good run down that back straight, keeping that Mustang nice and composed. Let's take a look over here, make sure the stream is still healthy and it's doing its thing. Stream is streaming. Cool. Go ahead and close that now. GT4 Camaro has been around in the game for a little while, so I assume you guys know. I'm Melon Pitch giving a little blinker there to the camera. He knows he's being watched as he's charging around that corner. Can be very tricky, that one, especially hard into the braking zone, into this hairpin, which we are going to be wanting to keep a close eye on throughout the race, because there is a lot of potential there for mishaps and people having different lines and braking zones. That is a notoriously tricky corner of the track when it starts getting crowded. Melon Pitch around the final bend. Now we're going to have our first look at what a qualifying pace is going to be as he comes across the line with a 1:35.6 as the new time to beat. Oops, clicked on the wrong car. There we go. Pierre in the number 676 car right behind him was not on a flyer, excuse me. Number 48 car across the line. Jim Grimes, the 1:39.407. Looks like The number 70 car now, Evan Toth with a 135.85, and the 33 car, Jason Lapointe, across the line with a 138.7. What was that? 8.22. I can't read numbers, but don't mind me. Let's go ahead and get this over to something a little bit more informational for us here. They changed my broadcasting app now. I don't know what all the buttons do. Bear with me here, folks. Let's do personal best Delta, and where's the other one I want? Session, nope, not session best relative. Why is it personal best there? There we go. Okay, we got it. we're back in business. Just take a real quick little listen to the stream, make sure my mic sounds okay. There we go, okay. Yep, okay, I can hear myself just fine. A little bit of an echo there for a second, but don't mind me. Jason Lapointe doing a good job here on the second follow-up lap with that 138.82. Looking to make an improvement, got a half second in the Delta so far as he comes into that heavy braking zone to that tricky hairpin. Let's see if he can get it. Nice and composed. And actually, ooh, looked like he was going to pick up a little bit of time there. Shaves a little bit coming around the final corner, down to a 10th up on the previous lap. Unfortunately, a couple bad corners is all it takes, although it looks like he gains a bit of time in that final corner. Not enough to set a PB, but has a good run down the straight. Have another shot at it. Let's take a look over here at Melon Pitch. Currently 7/10 up, 6/10 bleeding it a little bit away as he comes around, scrubbing time off there, maybe a little bit aggressive, trying to get some power down, late onto the brakes into this, gets a good look up the straight, up a half second, 6/10, 7/10, and he gets a great run up the straight, and this is going to be very, very big for his lap time here. He's got Evan Toth kind of creeping in on him, off by just 2.5 tenths. But that 7/10 gap is going to be more than enough for Melon Pitch to sit comfortably up there at the top. He's losing some time coming around the corner into the tight bend, down to 4/10, up to a half second. Is he going to continue to gain time as he comes around these last two corners? It's looking good. Pierre Corvette also looking very good, almost an entire second up, as is Jason Lapointe, a half second up. Improvements across the field right now. A little bit of a stutter there. As get a late joiner, Melon Pitch across the line with a 134.9 is the new best lap of the session. And Pierre Corvette going to cross the line as well with, oh, did he invalidate? No, he got it, he banked it. He got it with a 135.872, just 2/100ths of a second off of Evan Toth for second place. Jason Lapointe now coming around the last couple corners here. Ooh, and a little bit of a rough exit there, does cost him some time on this lap. He's only got 3 minutes and 10 seconds to try and get another one down on the line. So let's see if he can do it on this next lap out. Melon Pitch still going around, down a 10th. Evan Toth up a 1/4 second. Let's check out the look from inside the car here. That's the one we wanted. Evan Toth hard on the brakes. Feeds the car into the left, a little bit of an understeer there. Looks like he keeps the oversteer under control, gets a good exit out of that corner. Very late on the brakes, a lot of trail braking here. Oh, and he overshoots it, and the car understeers off the track. And just a little bit too aggressive on that entry there, and he's gonna go ahead and bin that lap. It just goes to show how hard the drivers are pushing these cars, even just a couple meters late on the brakes, and you're missing that corner altogether, and we're going to want to keep an eye out on that corner as well, because it can also cause, well, let's call them racing incidents. Melon Pitch going out, not satisfied with having the fastest laps, got to go out there and do it better just because he can. Oh, Not going to find any time out there. Runs it way off wide with some blinkers for the camera, saying, I hope you didn't see that one. Got some shout outs in the chat for Worley and Gnoya. All right, that one back to the pits, and yeah, it looks like most of the GT3 drivers are going to be making their way back into pit lane as they have essentially run out of time to try and have another flyer. Looks like, oh, unfortunately, that's a bit wide too for the 676 car of Pierre Curvet, and he's going to put that one back melon pitch, last one out on the track, and then we will let the GT4s out to qualify, and we'll see what those Camaros can do. In practice, they were the quickest of the quick. We're about 7 or 8 seconds off the GT3s, and Melon Pitch taking this final opportunity to practice his pit entry. And I don't know, those of you who have watched him, oh, there we go, on the pit limiter early and slowed down. Definitely not getting a stop-go 30 on that pit stop, and we know that's what we hate to see. So that is going to do it for our GT3 lineup. Let's go ahead and throw up the scoreboard there. Melon Pitch with a commanding lead up there in first place. 7/10 up on Evan Toth with still a very good lap time of 1:32.64, followed by Pierre Corvette in the 1:35.8, just 2/10 off of second place Evan Toth. LaPointe in the 33 car at a 1:38.7, and the number 48 car at a 1:38.8. And that's our GT3 field all wrapped up there, as I know we just heard some of the GT4s making their way out onto the track. We've got Joshua Worley on the camera there in the Bass Pro Shops Camaro. Everybody going out there again. GT4 cars don't have tire blankets, so they're using this outlap to try and get as much temperature into those tires as they can. Fortunately, Misano, let's see, what's the temperature out there? It is 27 degrees out there. Not quite the hottest day in the world, but still nice and toasty, right around the 80-degree Fahrenheit mark. For those of you who don't know how to read temperature in degrees Celsius, which I don't. I just remember that 28 is 82. So I'm not smart. I'm just pretending. Number 220 car of Noah McComber going to be the first GT4 on the flying lap. Love you too, Melon Pitch. Shout outs in the chat. And I know I was kind of harping on Misano, really forcing the drivers to make sure they're carrying their speed through these corners. That couldn't be any more true than it is in these GT4s. Lacking the aero or the just brute strength of the GT3 cars to power out of these corners. It is all the more important. Ooh, as Noah McComber gets a little bit on the outside there. I don't think that will have been enough to invalidate his lap. We'll see. But yeah, with the cars not able to accelerate out of these corners, really got to make sure you're carrying as much as you can to have the best shot at having a good, quick run down some of these straights. And these straights are a lot longer in the GT4s than they are in the GT3s. So far, the three drivers up front keeping things nice and tidy. Not sure if that's just because I watched a bunch of GT3s or if because these guys have really got a handle on their laps. We will see shortly. Around the back end getting a little bit loose there as he comes around the final bend. Nice kiss of the curb there. Out a little wide, but he's going to keep it in the lines. We should get a lap here. Oh, and it invalidated him. So, okay, we do not have a banker lap for Noah McComber, which opens the door for Joshua Worley and then Ryan Garrity to set the fastest lap there. Joshua Worley across the line first with a 1:44.385, followed by Ryan Garrity with a 1:43.290. Message from the chat, I'm trying to learn degrees Celsius, but it's hard after so many years of freedom degrees. So many thanks for that conversion. Anytime, my friend. Got a couple more, let's see, a couple more GT4 times across the line. Josh Buckwalter with the new fastest in class at a 1:43.195, just a tenth quicker than Ryan Garrity. Ben Burchett also across the line with a 1:44.415. Trying to see what all is on that livery. Ordinarily, less egos, my amigos. I like that. I like that a lot. In the number 17 Good Times Crew Camaro. Number 98 car across the line with a 1:43.755, which would be good enough for fourth place, but it looks like it was on an invalid lap. Joshua Worley, though, crossing the line here on a big improvement. Shaves, looks like... Oh, did he go evens right as he crossed the line? He does. But 1:44.002, just outside of reach of that 1:43. I'm sure he'll go out there and get it on this next lap. Let's take a look. Albert Ganoyo crosses the line, just missed him. 7/10 up on his previous best with a purple Sector 1 with a 1:43.410. And that is going to be good enough for third in class. Ross Sparrow hanging out in the pits. And the number 5 Camaro is getting dangerously close to not being able to get a qualifying lap out there with only 4 minutes left in the session before we get to the race. Oh, and Joshua Worley off wide is going to take a trip out to the beach, and that is going to allow the other Camaro through. Mac Morgan coming around turns 2. Nope, that's 4 and 5, excuse me. Already off to a good start of the lap. But let's take a look over here. Noah McComber still trying to bank a valid lap since the start of qualifying here. On a good one right now, 6/10 up. Although, having not set a valid lap, I don't know if that... I don't remember if it tracks. Maybe they fixed that since the last time I looked at the broadcasters thing. Ben Burchett also making a lot of improvement. As I look at the number, I start seeing it get smaller, but Noah McComber now up a second. We'll see if that is going to be... It looks like it's going to be very, very quick. And we will have our answer shortly as he crosses the line and now in first place, the 1:43.0. 1/10 up on Joshua Buckwalter, moves him into first place, already making an improvement through turns 1 and 2. Let's take a look over at Mac Morgan here, getting a little bit untidy there, coming into that heavy braking zone after the straight. Unfortunately, going to lose his time there. Joshua Worley still looking at making an improvement here, up a quarter second. And he's just starting his lap. All right, 2 minutes and 25 seconds left in this qualifying. Looking like Ross Sparrow may not set a qualifying lap. Not sure what's going on with his team in the pits, but hopefully they get sorted out here pretty soon because they're going to be lined up on a grid here in about 5 minutes. Joshua Worley still hanging on to that quarter-second lead he started the lap with. We'll see if he can hang on to it. He's looking good. Still has 1/10. And all he has to do is keep that 1/10 and he qualifies with a 1:43, which I'm sure is all that's going through his mind right now as he rounds the final bend, now up 2/10. Oh, and he invalidates it on the outside in the final corner. Well, oh, that's a bummer, but he is out on a final lap with it being less than the amount of time it'll take him to complete a lap. This will be his final one. He's got to make it count. Ben Burchett coming around the second to final bend here, also looking fairly good, bleeding a little bit of time off as he comes around the final bend, 2/10 up. That final corner giving a lot of people trouble today. And he's going to cross the line there with a new personal best, a 1:44.040. Just a hair off of Joshua Worley for 10th place. But we'll also have time to complete a final lap and try and snag that position from Joshua Worley, of course, assuming he isn't able to improve. And right now, looking pretty good, 4/10 up. Let's see if we can get the power down and maintain that time. It's bleeding away. He is going to hang on to it. Switch cars accidentally. We're going to keep an eye on Joshua Worley as he comes in. This is a very important corner to get right. Don't want to be on the brakes too early. It's out wide. That's going to be too wide, and Joshua Worley not going to be able to bank the 1:43 for this qualifying session. Ben Burchett may still be able to pull it off, but he's going to have to make a massive improvement coming through Sector 3. It is not off the table, though. Okay, looking good, gets it on the inside, using the wide bit of the track there. Let's see, he finds the time, up a 10th. He may still, in fact, see the 1:43. It is not out of the question yet. Right now, he is even with his best lap time as he rounds the second to final bend. We see it turn red. We just need a good final corner here. And Ben Burchett will cross with a 1:39, and it will be enough for P4, P5 in class, and a top 10 start on this grid. And there it is, with a 1:43.950, Ben Burchett across the line to snag 10th place after the time has lapsed. And that is what we call an exciting qualifying session, ladies and gentlemen. And that is gonna do it. One quick look at the grid there over on the left-hand side of your screen before we click it over to the grid walk. Let's go ahead and do that now. Let me get the mandatory pit on my counter here. Okay, now it's not going to be broken later. Yeah, the GT4 class actually very, very close to one another in lap times, and that's what we like to see. Let me go ahead, and I'm going to keep fixing things. I'm sorry. I'm going as fast as I can. I haven't done this in a while, and it's hard. All right, we're almost, what am I looking at here? Come on, come on. All right, we want our car number, and we want our race gaps. Cool, that will matter later. But let me throw up this camera, and we do a little, what key is it, F7, yeah. All right, now we have control of the camera. We're gonna do ourselves a little track walk here, as we always do, at least when I'm streaming here. Up in first place, we've got Melon Pitch, going to be heading off in that abomination of a Mustang in lime green and pink, his signature colors. Right next to him in the all-gold Mustang going to be Evan Toth, starting in second place. In third, Pierre Corvette in the 676 Mustang, starting in third. In fourth place, Jason LaPointe in the 33 car, and Jim Grimes in fifth in the number 48. To the GT4 field, our first place finisher, Noah McComber in the 220 Camaro, starting there on the inside. Right next to him is going to be Josh Buckwalter in the number 16 Camaro. Ryan Garrity in P3. Albert Ganoia in P4. Next to him going to be Ben Burchett with the final, or the last second 10th place qualifier, sitting there in P10. Joshua Worley going to be, has a target painted on the back of that Camaro to the next of him. Going to be starting in P11, followed by Mac Morgan in P12, and Ross Sparrow, a non-qualifier, starting in P13. We'll see what he can do Starting from the last, it depends on the field. Sometimes we like starting from the back. This isn't a Monza pub, so hopefully we aren't going to see too much carnage in T1, but Misano can be very tricky. And as we saw, that GT4 field, very, very competitive. I think we have just enough time here where I can look at the, no, I can't from spectator, so never mind. I was going to see if we could pull up the qualifying times, but it is not meant to be. 15 seconds here till we kick off the out lap here. It'll be a final opportunity for the drivers to get their tires warmed up and get their starting positions figured out. Hopefully everybody's hit the drive button, setups are locked in, then we'll be out of time to do so now as we start the pace lap. The GT3 is going to be the first ones to leave the starting grid. Well, I was going to say it in qualifying, but I'll say it now. But with the Mustang being the newest GT3 addition to the game, I decided to do a little bit of digging also because I am a bit of a Ford guy, so if I didn't know about the Mustang, that would be a shame. But with it being a GT3, it does have the mighty, the venerable 5.4 Coyote in the front of it as a naturally aspirated V8, and is one of the absolutely most mental engines to ever land in front of a Mustang. It actually has to down tune it to 550 horsepower just so they can meet the spec. It also has gotten completely re-engineered roll cage, monocoque. It's got new specially designed suspension. And the thing I think that is most interesting about how they designed this car to be even more competitive in the GT3 field was by moving the transmission to the back. It's actually a transaxle in the rear is what's delivering all of the power to those drive tires, moving a lot of the weight towards the back of the car and improving the overall balance. That, coupled with the suspension and the aero package that this thing got, is what made it as competitive as it is in the GT3 field. And God, just look at that car. I want one. I want one. Those GT4 Camaros also no slouch. Don't know quite as much about them, but I know they're powered by a 6.2 liter V8. So bigger displacement, heavier engine, producing much less power in the GT4 spec. I think it's around, what is it, like 475 horsepower or something like that. But it is a big torquey boy. That Camaro R is no joke. Here's some of them going wide open throttle there, trying to catch up to the rest of the grid as we are lining up here in our starting positions, getting ready to kick off this race at Misano. Take this as a final opportunity to thank everybody who's tuned in so far. We are about to kick off this race. We are looking at a very exciting race, especially in the GT4 field. Those qualifying times looking very, very tight. We should see an exciting battle there in the Camaros. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen, as we line up. We are looking down the starting grid. Everybody lined up double file. We are just waiting for those lights to go out. And Melon Pitch and Evan Toth going to start off this race as we go green, green, green in race 2 of this series kicks off. Evan Toth going for a very wide line into turn 1. Melon Pitch on the inside to defend, but that faster line just carries so much more speed around the corner and is able to get an early pass there into P1 for Evan Toth, and they're being chased down by the 676 Mustang. We've already got caution flags waving. Looks like some light contact back there in the GT4 fields. Nothing too serious here. Ryan Garrity nipping on the heels there of Albert Ganoia in the 98 Corvette, or I'm going to keep saying Corvette Camaro. That was a great move there at the start of the race for Evan Toth. Sneaks around turn 1 to snag first place. Melon Pitch going to have to compete with him to try and get that position back. Noah McComber really pushing. Oh, we've got a Camaro off wide there. It's going to be P6. Let's see, that is Oh, that's Josh Buckwalter. Filters back in right in front of Albert Ganoia. No drama there as they come into this bend, and we start looking at the long straight. Let's take a look here. Melon Pitch really chasing down Evan Toth there. Maybe close enough to make a move coming up into this next set of corners here. It looks like he wisely stays behind. It's a pretty easy dive bomb there, but it's also a very easy accident to start. We'll see if the GT4s are having the same amount of respect for their other drivers. They're definitely getting closer. When it looks like still a 5-car battle for first place in the GT4 field as they get ready to wrap up lap 1 here. And if I'm not mistaken, I see a GT3 back here. Josh Grimes seems to have found himself, I must have missed an off track there. But he is catching up to the cars. All right, let's take a look here as the GT4 is now coming into turn 1. Josh Buckwalter looking real impatient, gives a little bit of a tap there to that lead car of Noah McComber in the 220 Camaro. But it looks like nothing too consequential here as these 3 cars make their way around turn 3, now down into turn 4. Good defensive positioning there from the number 220 Makita Camaro there. Oh, but the number 16 just itching to get around him. As you can see him getting right up on that corner again. Got to be real careful. Does not take much to spin these cars around, as it looks like the lead car gets a little bit unsettled there on the outside, but gets it back on the track, and it looks like we get a pass from Melon Pitch. Let's take a look at this. Evan Toth back around under the brakes. There's too much going on. Evan Toth out. Let's see who got the power down better. It looks like Evan does. Let's go to that airborne view here as we go into a drag race down the straight, and it looks like Melon Pitch inching out in front. Oh, it's still too close to decide. That is going to be a pass for Melon Pitch. Looks like he takes first place back from Evan Toth as they go into the tight corner there. The number 676 Mustang certainly not out of the conversation, though. Looks like we missed a pass from Ryan Garrity back in the GT4s, but we could not take our eyes off of that. The battle for first place still very, very active here. Ooh, bit of oversteer there from Melon Pitch as he rounds the final bend, gets it back sorted out, and there we go. A new fastest lap from Melon Pitch, going to do a 1:36.917. Let's take a look at those last laps there from Evan Toth and Melon Pitch. Looks like Evan Toth, well, that just looks like a great lap from Melon Pitch, to be completely honest with you. Let's check back in with our GT4s here. The middle of the field still looking nice and packed. About a half second between first and second place, a second between third and second. Right here in the middle is going to be where the action's at. We can see there first and second place getting very close to each other, but look at this pack of Camaros here, still coming around lap 2, all right on top of each other. We've got a little bit of side-by-side action. Ben Burchett going to be looking to make a move here coming into T7. Does he have it? He got the inside, and it looks like he's going to hang on to it, making the pass on the number 47. Ooh, but it may not be so clear-cut as they come through the exit here. They're still wheel-to-wheel. Ben looks like he's made his way out front. Oh, and there's a car sideways. Uh-oh. That is a big accident there. Now, what happened? We're going to go ahead and jump to the quick replay here and see what happened. Looks like Ryan Garrity ends up sideways here somehow. Melon Pitch goes out and sets another fastest lap while we're watching this. Ryan Garrity, oh no, late on the brakes, and he spins around. Looks like Josh Buckwalter there, and then just carnage ensues. All right, well, it looks like, okay, Noah McComber still up in first place, and Josh Buckwalter getting away from it. Ryan Garrity, actually, it looks like, yeah, Ryan Garrity is the one who gets hit. Ben Burchett was the one who overshot. I got the cars backwards, excuse me. But it looks like positionally we're still kind of in the same spots. Let's take a look at the position delta here. We've got a couple cars in the pits. Looks like Albert Ganoia, Josh Worley in the pits for damage. So I didn't see any penalties handed out, and they're not serving any. And Josh Grimes still at the back of the pack, waiting to make his way back up through the GT4. Still a lot of race left, though. We are only 6 minutes into this race, and there is still plenty of time. Yellow flag for Josh Grimes. Oh, unfortunately out a little bit wide there in the dirt. Gets back on there. Oh, we've got a side-by-side, and they touch. Josh Buckwalter trying to sneak past for a pass here. But Noah McComber just not letting himself be bullied. And he's going to hang on to that first place position. Oh, we saw a little bit of contact there just behind them between Ross Sparrow and Ben Burchett. Jim Grimes looks like he's going to have it towed back into the pits. Let's see, Albert Ganoya's leaving the pits. Looks like Joshua Worley right behind him, and they're both serving their mandatory pit. So they've got that out of the way. Now hopefully they will be rocking those tires to the end of the race. They just got to be careful not to use them up too early. Ooh, a little bit of oversteer there from Jock Buckwalter. Do the drivers have, I'm sorry, I'm just seeing this over here, the question from the chat. Do the drivers have any pit requirements? Yes, there is one mandatory pit stop, and I believe fuel is required. This is dangerous here. These two drivers practically touching bumpers there somehow. They don't spin one another around. It is a mandatory pit stop for both fuel and tires. Check in with Ben Burchett and Ross Sparrow. These two also still battling it out. Half second between the two of them. Ben Burchett really under pressure here as we looks like the number 5 Camaro going on the outside. Ross Sparrow going to try and go the long way around as they come down the back straight, and it's not going to work out for him there. Has to back out of the brakes. Ooh, little bit of, looks like a little bit of lockup there for Ben Burchett. Gets it under control, but that opens the door to the number 5 to sneak up the inside. Ryan Garrity giving him another run, and that is going to be the move made there. Excuse me, Ross Sparrow, not Ryan Garrity. And that moves him up into P4. And there's no surprise there. Ross Sparrow finishing in P1 last race, so he has got some work to do to make his way back up the field. That would explain why he didn't qualify. Oh, but Ben Burchett gets around him again. What is going on here? Go ahead. Let's check in with our race leader here. Melon Pitch still looking nice and comfortable up in first place. Looks like that last lap, another fastest of the section with a 1:34.862, excuse me. Let's see if we can get a look lap after lap here. There we go. Here's his last 3 laps. So he's actually getting quicker out there. We'll see how much longer he can keep that up. Tires are going to be falling out of their kind of Goldilocks zone. Right around now, 6 laps into this race. Still only 10 minutes into this race, folks. But Melon Pitch doing a very good job of controlling first place. Evan Toth certainly still in striking distance. But looks like that last current corner was a little bit rough. Now falls back to 4.5 seconds back. And Melon Pitch going to start running away with that first place finish a little bit quicker than I thought he was going to. Let's take a look at the number 676 Mustang here of Pierre Couvette. Still looking nice and healthy there. Jason Lapointe, actually out there, he is also improving. Very good last lap. 2 green sectors, a little slow in sector 2, but he's making up for it in this lap. He is up by a second in the Delta. Let's check back in with Ross Sparrow and Ben Burchett. Actually, let's take a look at our front runner for the GT4 field here, Noah McComber. Seems to be comfortably doing his thing. There we go. Behind him, Josh Buckwalter in the number 16 Camaro. Oh, and Ross Sparrow closing in on Ben Burchett again. It's going to be very close. Let's take a look at that rear wing here of Ben Burchett. We see Ross Sparrow right behind him. The sun setting to kind of blind that rear view mirror. Looks like Ross Sparrow not going to make a move here. If we compare their laps, though, Ross making up a lot of time in Sector 1 on that last lap. Or excuse me, Ben, I mean. There's the front splitter there of the chasing car. Oh, and the number 17 car picks up a drive-through for track limits, and that is a disaster for Ben Burchett in his battle against Ross Sparrow. Whoops, wrong car. I know what I'm doing. GT4 field starting to spread out a little bit, but the action has just stayed right behind Ben Burchett for the last couple of laps. And I'm sure he's having a blast, but that is a lot of pressure to be under this long. Ooh, and a little bit of a rough corner there for Ben, but Ross Sparrow not able to capitalize on it. Still giving him a good chase. It looks like he's gaining on him. Ooh, and yep, there's a little bit of a lift there for Ross as he comes into this next bend to really set up a good exit. Look at all of that space he makes up, but not enough to get his nose in there. Let's see, it looked like a good corner there for Ben. It was. And Ben just doing an excellent job of keeping that car right where it needs to be so that Ross cannot get an easy way around him. Ross Sparrow about a half second faster around that lap. Ben Burchett doing a great job. We go on board here with Ben Burchett, and we can see that rear view mirror is just a yellow Camaro as he's trying to get away around the outside. He tried this last lap. Let's see if he can set it up for this one. Ooh, not quite, but maybe on the switchback. Can he get the power? Oh, I thought he might have gotten the power down the way he came in real narrow like that, but it doesn't look like he was able to link it up together. He sets up a nice wide flat exit here. Let's see if he can gain some speed. And it's looking like they're just going to be single file down the straight again. Oh, and it looks like a big mistake there from Ben Burchett, and he goes off wide and spins it, and that is what opens the door to Ross Sparrow making it through there. I was going to say it looked like a big dive bomb there from Ross, but what it really was is unfortunately Ben overcooking it a little bit and losing control of those brakes, or losing control under the brakes. Looked like the back just got away from him. And now he's got that's the first place Mustang there, and he's going to go ahead and go in for his pit stop there at the 44-minute mark. Melon pitch there. Already starting to make his way through the GT4 field if he's made it up that far. Second place in class for the GT4s here, Josh Buckwalter, the number 16 Camaro. Still chasing down Noah McComber. He's got him within 3 seconds. Oh, that was Ben serving his drive-through. Okay, that's right. Forgot he had that. That was smart. He was under pressure. He just got passed. Good call. I like that. Good strategic thinking there from the team. Looks like a 40-second time penalty there for a drive-through. But he is back out, and he is now chasing down Mac Morgan there. That's going to be for P5 in class. And finishing P6, I mean, he is right now in P6. If he finishes here, he will finish as well as he did last weekend. But let's see if he can catch Mac Morgan. He's lapping about a second faster, so it may be a little bit till he gets there, but he might, it is possible. The third place Mustang here closing in on some, oh, takes out the brake marker. Just who needs it anyways? Doesn't look like he did. A little bit of oversteer there on the outside. I believe that is the first place car. No, that's the number 42 car of Mac Morgan. Pitch making his way around some more back markers here. Looking rather impatiently. That's the thing though, those GT4s are not that much slower in a straight line. It's just the aero package of these Mustangs is ridiculous. Although that said, Melon Pitch has got to be getting frustrated now. He's 2 seconds down on his previous lap, just sitting behind this guy. I mean, a blue flag in GT car racing is not an obligation to get out of the way. But that Camaro costing Melon Pitch 2 seconds on his lead against Evan Toth. Which car was that? I should probably know. I think that was Ryan Garrity. It was. Well, knowing that now, I bet you he was just making Melon Pitch work for it. I can see it happen. I'd do the same thing. Gonna be taking a run here at second place, Josh Buckwalter now. Yeah, and Josh just gets out of the way on that one. Noah McComber gonna be the next one. And that's the speed difference on the, just off the line there. I mean, GT4 is still accelerating and Mustang is still, I mean, he's already at the next corner. But once they're flat out, it's really not that big a difference. If anything, the GT3s get held back a bit by the aero they've got. On board now here with Melon Pitch. Let's see how he handles getting around this GT4. That's going to be our leader in class, Noah McComber. Nice little pass there on the outside, or on the inside there, and there he goes. and that is Melon Pitch through all the back markers, so we should start seeing some pretty quick laps out of him. His best lap of 1:34.8, that last one a 1:36.7. Some of that is going to be tires, a lot of that is going to be traffic. Now the question is, does that 4.5 second gap to Evan Toth close down, or does he start to grow it here? There's no way he just gained a 1.5 seconds in one corner. I call shenanigans. Although that said, Evan Toth still working his way through the GT4 field. Melon Pitch is very likely to grow his lead here. Joshua Worley slowly recovering his race here. Just gets passed by Melon Pitch. And let's see, that is the first place Camaro behind him, but has closed the gap down to the car in front to just 7.5 seconds. He's making his way up there. Oh, he's already served a pit stop. Never mind. So he may actually be in very good position. Where was he before the pit change? It's predicting he's going to come out in after the rotations. It says it would be P11 once everybody's done. Because Ben still needs to serve a pit stop, so he'll gain a position on Ben. Other than that, the only other... Well, actually, the number 98 car, currently in P11, is looking at a very big improvement. Should gain 2 positions during the pit stops. You see here Joshua Worley under pressure here. That's going to be the Mustang of Evan Toth. But that looks relatively drama-free. Yeah, so Albert Ganoia here is actually going to be looking really good after the pit stops. Will be in P9 if it continues to go the way, which... He started in P9, so he'd be finishing where he started, which is never a bad thing. We got a yellow flag. Ooh, and Jim Grimes is facing the wall, unfortunately. Yellow flag for Jason LaPointe. That's just him leaving the pits. As we are approaching the halfway point, we should start to see a few more drivers make their way into the pit lane. Let's check in on Noah McComber here. He's just starting a lap. Or no, just finishing a lap, excuse me. And he is going to stay out another lap. Looks like second place Joshua Buckwalter there in the background going to do the same. Let's see, Ryan Garrity also sending it back out. Same for Ross Sparrow. Mac Morgan will be the next one. We'll see. Mac Morgan going to stay out. One thing to note, the sun is setting and it is actually cooling. Ooh, wow, a lot of oversteer. I was going to say a little oversteer. That was quite unruly, but well managed there from Mac Morgan. As the sun sets, though, the temperature is dropping, and quite quickly. We started at 27 degrees Science. We're now down to 25. 2 degrees difference may not seem like much, but that is going to be affecting the tire temperatures quite a bit. More than anything, really is going to be tire pressure differential there. As the track cools, their pressure in the tires are going to drop proportionally. Evan Toth finally out from the traffic here, comes out 8 seconds behind Melon Pitch. But still 12 seconds up on third place Pierre. We do have some cars rolling through the pits, it sounds like. Is that? Yep. Jim Grimes here going to make his way back out onto the track. the number 48 Stevens Racing Mustang here, and he is free. You turn the pit limiter off. Oh, he's waiting. Okay. Letting the traffic go through. I appreciate that. It's probably time to start going. Well, we'll check back in with them here in a little bit. Alright, judging by the fact I didn't see them still out there on the runoff, looks like they've gotten going. There they go there. To which I say, more power to you, brother. Your team can still earn points. Get in the car, go out there and drive it. Down 3 laps, but he's still going to be scoring. Just missed a pass there by Pierre Corvette. Noah McComber there passing a back marker. Looks like Joshua Worley there. And we're going to have another Mustang coming up on, I believe that is Jim Grimes. And Ross Sparrow into the pits. Gets it slowed down in time, it looks like. That is going to be the first GT4 to come in at what I would say is probably about the expected time. I think Albert Gnoia and Joshua Worley there were having to repair some damage early on. Aside from that, not too much else going on the track. We are pretty spaced out here. Go ahead and pop up the track map for you guys, so we can have that going. There we go. I thought I had that open. My mistake. Jim Grimes here going to be looking to get a pass around Joshua Worley. Evan Toth into the pits at, let's see here, so Melon Pitch still out. Ross Sparrow is let out of the pits there. And that is his pit stop served. And he comes out about 8 seconds in front of Albert Gnoia. In the background there, second place Josh Buckwalter and the number 16 Camaro. Oh, what happened there? A little bit of oversteer, it looks like. Yep, he's going to let the other car through. He's just out there trying to finish his race. I respect the hell out of that. Yellow flag on Mac Morgan here. That's them into the pits. What? Oh, that was them entering the pits. I see. Evan Toth is back out on the track here. The early pit stop going to be on some fresher tires than the rest of the GT3s. Question is, will he be able to make up enough pace right now in order for that early pit stop to have paid off? Real quick idea of the paces here. Fastest lap in the GT3 field is going to be a 134.8. The fastest lap out of a GT4 was a 143. That 134.8, that is very, very fast. Evan Toth makes the pass on Jason LaPointe. And that was for position. However, Jason LaPointe has not served his pit stop yet. About half the cars now have served their mandatory pit stops, just waiting for the rest of them to trickle in. Now, theoretically, all of these cars can go an hour on the same set of tires. Oh, Noah McComber there into the pits. That's going to be our race leader in the GT4 class. That looked nice and tidy, so no worries about a stop and go 30 there. So far, no pit lane violations. We love to see that. Anyways, as I was saying, the tires on all these cars can absolutely make it an hour if they're being driven with some care. But around this halfway mark is really where, if you're pushing, like this is a sprint race, and it is, the tires start to fall off pretty substantially. So we're going to probably start seeing a lot of drivers making their ways into the pits right about now. As I say that, Mellon Pitch on his way in. Let's see. And a nice, safe pit stop there for Mellon Pitch. Number 98 car of Albert Gnoia. God, I'm going to have to ask you. Hit me up in the Discord after this and tell me how to pronounce your last name. I'm certain I'm not doing it right. Ben Burchett makes a pass on. Nope, that's not a pass. Noah's in the pit lane. Pierre Couvrette making his way around Mellon Pitch through the pits. Question is, where is Evan Toth? So he is coming around the third to final bend there, and I believe Mellon Pitch is making his way out. He is. So where is Evan? Coming down the final corner. So Mellon Pitch has a healthy amount of room to work with, though. He's going to come out into traffic. Actually, no, he comes out into a wide open track. That's what you like to see. And he comes out about 8 seconds in front of Evan Toth, which is right where he left him. Oh, that time is going up. 14.5 seconds now. Pierre Couvrette into the pits there. Mellon Pitch making his way around the back marker. That is Ben Burchett there. Oh wait, no it's not. Hey, I keep messing with my cars. Who are you? Going on over here. Let's see. Oh, Evan Toth making his way through some GT4s here. That's Josh Worley in the number 47 Camaro. Ben Burchett into the pits, and he is followed by Ryan Garrity. Or no, Ryan Garrity leaving the pits, excuse me, so they kind of follow one another in and out. A little switcheroo there. Ryan Garrity going to clear his mandatory pit stop here in just a moment. And Ross Sparrow is going to be right behind him. And there we go. Now there's just 3 seconds between third and fourth place here as Ross Sparrow is going to try and make his way up to Ryan Garrity. Now the big problem here for Ryan Garrity is going to be the fact that those tires are going to be pretty much cold while Ross Sparrow has been out for a couple of laps and has warmed his up. He's going to have way more control over the car than the one he's trying to chase down. The question is, will Ryan Garrity's defense be enough? Only has to hold him back for a lap or two, and then his tires are warmed up and he'll have a much better shot. .2 seconds now. Let's see if he can continue to narrow that down. Ryan Garrity in the number 56 Camaro. Keeping it nice and tidy. We can see the yellow Camaro there in the background. Still at 2.2 seconds. These two drivers pretty much stacked right on top of one another. Now inside the 2-second window, and Mellon Pitch right behind him to come shake things up. The blue flag now waving for Ross Sparrow as Mellon Pitch dives to the inside. Should get the pass, no problem. Ooh, and Ross Sparrow overcooks it there into the corner. Not sure if he saw the Mustang of Mellon Pitch there and just got a little bit overcautious, but that does open the door for Ryan Garrity to get away a little bit. Ben Burchett sneaking up behind Mac Morgan here, who still has a pit stop to serve. Only car on the grid yet to serve their pit stop. The Kellogg's livery is very good, yes. Ooh, Ben Burchett wants to get after it a little bit, but has to check up so as not to go into the side of that number 42 Camaro. Ooh, a little bit wide there for Mac Morgan. Ben Burchett with a look at the inside. And that was well played there by Ben. Almost contact. It looks like they maybe had a little bit of contact there on the exit. But Ben Burchett snags the position. That inside line is better, but the outside Camaro carries a lot more speed. But the position there for Ben Burchett is just too difficult to beat around that corner, and he is going to move up into that position. Mac Morgan going to be thinking about heading into the pits here pretty soon. Not going to be this lap, though. And there we go, Ben Burchett across the line with a 144.8. Looks like Ben's going to get away with that. Ryan Garrity still trying to fend off Ross Sparrow. And now Evan Toth going to be trying to find a way through the traffic here. Rough time to catch them, though. No way through there. He's going to get it there, though. Ross Sparrow's gap grows out to 2.7 seconds there. 16.5 minutes left in the race. Still has time to lock it down, maybe get a position here. Ooh, and a yellow flag from Mac Morgan. It does not look like he's heading into the pits. No, he spins out in the that high-speed corner on the end of the back straight there. Might be time to get those tires swapped out, my friend. Let's see what they decide to do. They're going to stay out. Just going to run those things down to the very end of their life. I respect it. Back with Ryan Garrity and Ross Sparrow. These two have been duking it out for a couple of laps. One thing to note, Ryan Garrity is slowly starting to close the gap to Josh Buckwalter in second place. It's now down to 4.5 seconds. Now down to 3 seconds. May not be so slowly closing the gap there. Let's take a look at that last lap out of Joshua Buckwalter. It's going to be a 1:44.0 with the last lap out of Ryan Garrity being a 1:43.7. So he's going to be closing that gap down by about 1.5 seconds a lap. There it looked like Jason LaPointe, yep, making his way through some slower traffic. No fuss there. Oh, and the 676 car of Pierre Corvette picks up a drive-through penalty for track limits. Yeah, and right around now is when I would be expecting most drivers to probably be on their third warning and waiting for the penalty, and that is an unfortunate mishap there for Pierre Couvrette, excuse me. I do think that actually it may be enough of a penalty to cost him third place. Because we saw it as about a 40-second drive-through penalty when Ben went through there earlier in the race. And that is less... Oh, no. Well... No, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. I think. It'll be close. It'll be close. The race for second place in the GT4 grid is actually closing up quite a bit here. Ryan Garrity has given Ross Sparrow a nice tow up behind Joshua Buckwalter, who is now just 3 seconds ahead of third place. The sun's now almost completely set. We've lost another degree of temperature off the track, now down to 24. I think somebody needs to get on Mac Morgan's radio here and let him know he's only got 12 minutes left. All right, let's see. Pierre Couvret is out of the pits for the drive-through. Filters out behind Ben Burchett. And is going to hang on to a 40-second lead, it looks like. Let's see, timer's still sorting it out here. But yeah, 40.3 seconds there it took him to get through pit lane. Ross Sparrow inside the 2-second zone, the danger zone for Ryan Garrity. Trying to open up the taps there. Running out of time to make this pass happen. A little deep there, but he gets it back under control. Blue Camaro out in front. He's getting a little closer. Now, just a 1-second gap now. Take a look at that last lap comparison for the two of them. Ross Sparrow quicker by 0.8 on that last lap. Very good sector 2 for him. It is going to get very close. Ryan Garrity also now has eyes on Josh Buckwalter, but he has got to worry about Ross Sparrow right behind him. And I know I'm the broadcaster. I'm not supposed to be biased, but that number 56 Camaro is an homage to the NASCAR Camaro they raced at Le Mans, and I would love to see it come in front of that other Camaro. Down to 0.7 seconds. Only a couple of tenths between these two cars. We're about to get the next lap time comparison. Let's see where it shakes out. Oh, and it is very close with just a 3/10 margin there going to Ross Sparrow. We're now inside the final 8 minutes of this race. We are in the red zone here for Ryan Garrity. Does not have to hold on much longer to hang on to that third place finish. Ross Sparrow is really turning up the heat though. Now inside 3/4 of a second, and he is lapping faster lap over lap than Ryan Garrity, as we can see him closing in, getting very close to the rear bumper of that number 56 Camaro. Oh, and now he is close enough to be given a tow to that Camaro behind. He looks at it and slots back in. There's going to be a hairy corner up here. It's going to come down to who's braver on the brakes. And both of them doing an excellent job of managing that first entry there. Now the hairpin. Both of them keeping those Camaros under control. Ryan Garrity only has a half second to work with now. And the number 42 car picks up a drive-through penalty for track limits. That's going to be Mac Morgan. With only 6.5 minutes left and still a pit trip to go. Pit stop. I can't talk. Pit trip? What in the world? Streamer's losing his mind, chat. It's like I've never watched a day of racing in my life. I can't believe it here, but this is all the racing I need to see. It's plenty exciting here. As Ryan Garrity still on the defense to hold on to that third place finish here at Misano. Let's see, Ryan Garrity finishing in 9th place, so this would be a huge improvement over his last weekend, and Ross Sparrow finishing in 1st is definitely eager to make up any position that he can right now, looking at a 4th place finish. While we've got a moment, let's not discount the performance out of Noah McComber today. Made an early pass up into 1st place and has hung on to it since. Josh Buckwalter also very, very strong performance, but he is going to be under pressure here. Fortunately, Ross Sparrow is keeping, excuse me, tickle in my throat, Ryan Garrity honest here, not letting him push up and catch him, because he is worried about defending against Ross Sparrow. I can't talk. Something stuck in my throat at the worst possible time. My goodness. There we go. Let's go ahead and take a look at the field here. Melon Pitch has had an absolutely commanding race here. Almost got switched up a little bit by Evan Toth early in the race with a quick right off the line pass there in turn 1. Evan Toth, though, was not able to hang on to it. Melon Pitch grabbing it for the lead, and he has hung on to it. Evan Toth, however, not having a bad race by any measure, hanging on to 2nd place and has been battling for it. And honestly, Melon Pitch not necessarily running away with it, but slowly losing ground over the race really is what accounts for the size of that gap there. As he makes his way around slower traffic, that's going to be Ben Burchett in the GT4. Pierre Couvrette also having a very strong race, has been sitting in 3rd place since the start and looking like they're going to finish there. Same with Jason Lapointe, is going to be there in 4th place. Noah McComber, we've seen this from the GT4 field. It has been popping off all race. Albert Ginoya, though, also having a decent race. Starts in P9, going to be finishing in P9. Never a bad result to start where you finish, but Joshua Worley just a little bit happier. Up one position on the day. Going to be looking at a top 10 finish. Ben Burchett here in P11. He's got eyes on him. He can see him. There's 3 seconds between him and Joshua Worley. Not a lot of time to make that up, though. Certainly could be done. He is lapping faster by about a second and has about another 2 laps in this race. He might be able to snag that position. Mac Morgan, having served their drive-through, is going to need to. Have they forgotten about their mandatory pit stop? You know, it happens. It certainly happens. Be an unfortunate way to end the race with an extra 90-second penalty, but they're currently looking at finishing in the back of the pack, so it's really not going to impact them that much. Well, let's go ahead and take a look back over to this race for third place in the GT4 field. Ryan Garrity in the 56 Camaro doing an excellent job of holding him off. He just got a little bit longer to do it. These two getting close again, kind of yo-yoing between 1 second and a half second. Right now locked in, there it is. Squeezes in for the half second. Now just 3/10. And Ross Sparrow really pushing in on those tight corners there because he knows he has only got maybe another lap or two in this race to try and get that pass. Getting very close now. Let's hop on board here with Ross Sparrow as he is just breathing the exhaust fumes of that Le Mans NASCAR hybrid. Leader is on the final lap. These guys will have maybe another full lap here. Garrity on the defense, hanging onto that inside line. Let's see if he goes Ross Sparrow around the outside. The inside car is going to have a good defensive spot, though. He's going to hang on to it. Ryan Garrity holds on to the position. But looks like a pretty aggressive move there on the outside for Ross Sparrow. He knows he is running out of time to make this pass happen, so he's going to try and force it. But let's also keep our eyes on this battle between Ben Burchett and Joshua Worley. Number 78 car of Evan Toth picks up a drive-through penalty with a 40-second drive-through. That is he's going to be okay. He will have 20 seconds of buffer between him and Pierre Couvret. Oh, and this is going to be a mess. That is a Mustang right in front of them. So it looks like, yeah, Pierre Couvret makes their way around them right at the worst possible time, but the battle is not interrupted. It is still raging here. Just 4/10 between Ross Sparrow and Ryan Garrity for third place. And this is going to be the final lap for these two GT4s. It comes down to this. These two drivers at each other's necks since the pit stops. And it comes down to this final lap. Leader is going to finish the race. There goes Mellon pitch there. Crossing the line in first place. No surprises there. Going to knock out a couple of brake markers while he can. Evan Toth going to be finishing right now there as he crosses the line in second place. Let's check back in with these two. Oh, and we've got a yellow flag for Albert. Oh, they've finished their race. That's right. Things are staggered. Ross Sparrow goes for the pass on that turn again. Is unable to make it happen. Ryan Garrity going to be hanging on to that position. I usually try to skip around the track to watch people cross the line, but I am stuck on this race for third place here. Ross Sparrow is really fighting to try and get around that Camaro in front is not able to make it happen, but he's going to be getting a tow down the straight now. And look at how close he is. Coming into the last couple corners here, he is going to run out of time to make this pass happen. It is now or never for Ross Sparrow. Just one more passing opportunity to go. Is the final corner. Is he going to be able to make something happen? It does not look like it. And crossing the line is going to be Ryan Garrity in third place as we see the blinkers as a kind of a hats off. Good battle there between the two of them, Ross Sparrow and Ryan Garrity, going to be crossing the line in third and fourth place in that order after a very hard fought battle. That was easily over a half hour. We see some celebration donuts there. Fourth place finish there for Ross Sparrow. And I believe that is everybody finished with their race. We have Melon Pitch in P1, Evan Toth in P2, Pierre Couvret in P3, Jason Lapointe in P4, Noah McComber in P1, Josh Buckwalter in P2, Ryan Garrity in P3, Ross Sparrow in P4, Joshua Worley hangs on to the position for a P5 finish. Right behind him is Ben Burchett, followed by Albert Ganoia and Mac Morgan, as well as Jim Grimes finishing out that race in 13th place. And that is going to do it for tonight's broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. It's been one of a very exciting race, actually. Very strong start to the race. We kept things nice and tight up until about lap 5. Things spaced up and they started turning into own battles for position throughout the rest of the race. Lots of clean passes for the GT3s and the GT4s, which we love to see. Not a lot of drama with back markers is always a good weekend. And that is going to be it. And of course, a final battle waged on between Ryan Garrity and Ross Sparrow to keep us excited all the way from the middle to the end of the race and finishing it down to the line with just a second between the two of them. What a race, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to do it for our second broadcast here. I guess it's our first one since I wasn't here last weekend. Race 2 of the Wet Hot American Series here at Delta Racing League. Thank you so much for everybody who tuned in. We will be back again next week. Let me see, what track are we at? I should know this, but I don't. We're going to be at the Hungaroring. Thank you very much, everybody, again, for tuning in. Join us next week for a race at the Hungaroring, where I'm sure we're going to have more action to see there. You guys enjoy the rest of your Father's Days, and we will see you next week.